Hello everyone, it's Marla here, and this week, as promised, I have a second video for you. This video is part of a collaboration that I did with a group of friends. I think I've mentioned before that I'm part of a creative group that meets once a week, and last year, just prior to the holidays, a member of the group shared this picture with us. It's from Country Sampler Farmhouse magazine. Every one of us loved that picture and decided that we wanted to create our own holiday vignette using a vintage chair. Here's the vignette I created for the holidays last year. I upcycled several items and used a chair that I had picked up at a flea market in San Diego, California. Some of you might recognize this vignette from one of my earlier videos. We all had so much fun finding our chairs and creating items for our vignettes that we decided to do it again in the spring. And here is a picture of my chair in full bloom. It was also featured in one of my videos. After doing the spring chair, we all decided that this should become a seasonal project. In this video, I will show you all of the items I upcycled, including my old chair, for our nation's 250th birthday this summer. So let's get started with the chair. I was lucky enough to find this beautiful chair on Facebook Marketplace for $10. I picked it up in Las Vegas and had to haul it all the way to California with me so I could upcycle it for this video. I started out by giving it a coat of spray shellac, and then I gave it 2 coats of Sweet Pickins milk paint in the color creamy. When using milk paint, it's a very easy 1-to-1 mixture. Sometimes I mix it a little thicker, but this time I went with the 1-to-1 so that each coat would be relatively thin. It took a while to get the chair completely painted because of all the spindles, but as I was putting the milk paint on, I knew it was going to give me exactly the look I wanted. As you can see, one of my daughter's bulldogs is out there to make sure that I'm doing my painting properly. And then he moved in for the final inspection. For those of you who have been wanting to see these dogs I sit with, well, here's one of them. His name is Monta. I used my hairdryer to dry the paint between coats and after the second coat was put on, ensuring that I would get the chippiness and crackle I wanted. After the paint was completely dry, I used sandpaper to sand it back, remove all the loose paint, and then I sealed it with Sweet Pickins dark oil wax. I absolutely love all the chipping and cracking I got in this chair. I had a vintage campfire marshmallow tin I knew that I was going to use in this vignette, but I wanted to create some more tins to go along with it. I had a tin that was slightly smaller than the marshmallow tin. It was one I picked up at Goodwill for a couple of dollars. You can see that it was an old Christmas tin. I started out by giving the tin 2 coats of Fusion mineral paint in the color Willow Bank. I didn't want to go with navy because I knew I would be adding some antiquing gel to this color, and I felt that the Liberty Blue was just too bright for a vintage look. I decided to paint the lid in a beautiful red so that I would have some contrast between the tin and the top of the tin. The red I'm using here is Highlander, also a Fusion mineral paint. You can see that the first coat was definitely transparent. I think I ended up giving the lid 3 coats of paint. While the paint was drying on the first tin, I grabbed the second tin, which was even smaller than the last one, and decided I would paint this tin in red, again so that I would have contrast. My campfire marshmallow tin was a creamy white, then I would have the blue tin, and then on top of that, a red tin. Not only would it give me the red, white, and blue, but I thought the combination would really stand out when I grouped them on the chair. I decided I wanted to use white for the lid of the second tin, so I started out by giving it a coat of DIY in the color White Swan. But then I decided I wanted something a little more off-white, so I went over the White Swan with Fusion Mineral Paint in the color Raw Silk. Before I left home, I printed off some digital downloads from Holler Park Primitives. It's a company I found on Etsy, and they have a wide variety of amazing vintage labels. I chose some that would go well with my marshmallow tin and were very Americana. I put a pretty good layer of Pen to Art decoupage glue and varnish on the back of my label, and then I placed it onto the tin. After I had it on the tin, then I went over the top of it with another coat of the varnish, and I did this on both sides of both tins. If you watched my Americana video I put out a couple of weeks ago, you'll remember that I used an Elmer's glue mixture and a dry rub mixture to age my tins. So I'm using that same combination on these tins. The glue mixture is simply Elmer's glue with a cup of very strong coffee mixed in to give that nice golden color. And the dry mixture is cheap instant coffee with several spices. I think I used cinnamon, cloves, allspice, and possibly pumpkin pie spice. You can use whatever mixture of spices you have in your cabinet. I certainly wouldn't use anything expensive. I think I just bought several jars of cheap spices from Walmart. I always crush the mixture up as I'm sprinkling it down because the coffee granules can be rather large. I use my finger to push the mixture down into the glue, and then when I'm finished, I go over the top of it with another layer of the glue mixture. Whenever I age the tins like this, I make sure that I put some of that rust effect on the lid as well, so everything matches. And on the red lid, that's the only thing I added, just a bit of the glue mixture and some of the dry mixture. I just sprinkled the dry mixture randomly along the top of the lid and then went back with my paintbrush to press it down into the glue mixture, spread it out a little bit, and to seal all of the dry particles on the top of the lid. I grabbed the lid for the second tin and started putting on the glue mixture and the dry mixture just as I had with the red lid. However, I stopped before I did the top of this lid because as I was working on it, I had another idea for something else that I wanted to do. I set the lid aside to dry and then picked up the bottom of this tin and went through that same process of adding the glue mixture and the dry mixture around the top and bottom edges. When I finished with this tin, I went back to the lid, but unfortunately, I didn't videotape myself putting these stencils on. The stencil has primitive shaped stars in it, and I used that Willowbank blue paint to stencil on the stars. I noticed when I took the stencil off that the paint had leaked under the stencil a little bit in some areas, and fortunately or unfortunately, I don't know which it is, but I am a bit of a perfectionist, and so I had to get out my raw silk paint and clean up the edges of the stars. After that paint dried, then I went over the entire lid with my Fusion antiquing gel. I always dab it back using a damp paper towel or a wet wipe because I don't like brush marks and I think the look is much more authentic. Before the antiquing gel was completely dry, I grabbed my dry mixture and sprinkled a little bit of it on the top and then used my paintbrush to press it down into the gel. I wanted to make sure that the lid looked aged just like the tin. After all of the paint was dry, I went back on both tins and gave each of them a coat of the Fusion antiquing gel and then dabbed it back as I had on the lid. I really love the way these tins turned out. They look very aged and very vintage. My next upcycle started out as a 100th anniversary edition of the Lincoln Log tin. I picked this tin up at Goodwill for less than $2. When I pictured my vignette in my head, I saw a croc sitting on the floor next to my chair. I could have brought one with me, but I thought it would be so much more fun to try and create one. I started out by giving this tin 2 coats of Rust-Oleum spray paint in the color ivory. Then I used painter's tape to create a stripe around the top of the tin and painted that stripe with the Fusion mineral paint in the color Willowbank. I gave the stripe 2 coats of paint. I probably could have given it 3, but I also knew I was going to use antiquing gel on top of it and that would darken the color somewhat. My plan all along had been to turn this large tin into a croc, and so I brought my IOD mercantile stamp with me, but instead of using ink, I decided to use that blue Willowbank paint. I used my brayer to add the paint to the stamp and then stamped it directly onto the tin. I wanted to make sure I had enough paint on the stamp, but not too much. I really saw this as a one-shot opportunity. I didn't want to have to go back and repaint the tin, especially now that the stripe was painted. I held the stamp in place with one hand while I used the other hand to press it down, and I was pleasantly surprised with the outcome. After I had the laurels painted on there, then I got out a stencil of old vintage-looking numbers, and I stenciled the number 4. At first it was because I didn't think this was quite as large as a 5-gallon bucket, but larger than a 3-gallon bucket. In the end, I decided that the 4 was a genius number to choose because of the 4th of July. Not that it was my genius, it just turned out that way. You can't see it from this angle, but when I took the painter's tape off the top of the tin, a little bit of the spray paint came off. I was kind of surprised, but I knew that I could fix it if I just mixed some paints together and went over it. I used Fusion's Raw Silk, a little bit of Woodwick, and a little bit of Prairie Sunset to come up with a color that was close enough that it matched the spray paint pretty well. Now, I've never come across a vintage croc that was all one color, and so I used that paint I had mixed up, added a little more Woodwick to it, and began to dab that all over the tin to give my croc a vintage aged look. Then I used some of my antiquing gel to go along the bottom of the stripe and the bottom of the tin to add to that vintage aged look. After looking at it, I decided it still didn't look as old as I wanted it to look, and so I went over the entire tin with DIY's dark and decrepit liquid patina. And then once again, I used a paper towel to dab that back. I really love how this project turned out. I put the lid on it so I could set some items on it for my vignette, but at home I will probably fill it with large branches and possibly a small quilt. Let me know what you think in the comments. For my final project, I decided I would try to take a new rug and distress it to look old. I picked up a rug at Goodwill for $3, similar to this one. The first thing I did was fill up the sink with hot water and a lot, and I mean a lot, of black tea. I wanted to tea stain the rug to make it look vintage. Besides making a rag rug, I couldn't think of anything more vintage than a tea stained rug. I used DIY clay paint to paint in red stripes on either end of the rug. I took my time and just painted along some of the stripes that were already in the rug from its textured surface. When I finished with the stripes, I took out a stencil and painted the 13 Betsy Ross stars in the center. I love the way that the rug turned out, but it looked entirely too new to me, so you'll see in the finished picture that I did go back and distress it as well. I sealed in the paint using DIY's dark and decrepit liquid patina, and then used that same liquid patina to distress spots all up and down the rug. I absolutely love how my vignette turned out. I love everything from the rug on the floor to the beautiful croc sitting in the corner, the rusty old tins that look great with my vintage campfire marshmallow tin. And you might remember the flag I upcycled in my Americana video. I thought it looked great sitting there on the floor next to my chair. I loved this vignette so much that I created a watercolor from it that I can frame for my home. I hope you enjoyed this video as much as I enjoyed transforming all of my thrifted items to create this beautiful vignette. I think the chair videos might become a tradition, so look for one in the fall and again in the holiday season. In the meantime, I hope you enjoy your weekend, and I will try to have another video to you on Tuesday. It might be a short one though, because I will be spending Monday driving from Los Angeles back to my home in Las Vegas. Woohoo! Please remember to like, subscribe, comment, and hype the video. Thank you.